We are now.
Good.
That's the fucking best.
5 seconds.
Shit. Oh boy.
Oh, InfoWars.
Yeah. All right. So, are we ready to do this?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, let's just jump right into it. This is the Fortean Slip, episode 38, War for the Planet of the Skunk Apes.
That's not bad.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I figured I'd keep with the vein. You know,
Should have been Info Wars for the Planet of the Skunk.
Yeah. Richard's right. Maybe you ought to change it.
Shit. Richard, I got to give you fucking kudos on that one.
Yeah, Richard's got it this time.
And so I guess I'm not allowed to introduce our guest.
Nope.
Well,
we have to have the the master journalism person.
Yes.
Right, so we promised you guys at the end of last week's show that we'd finally do the urban game, video game myth show. Once again, Chris has desperately attempted to thwart my efforts to bring you that show by bringing in special guest Tim Fasano. Tim, welcome to the show.
Hi.
That's it.
Yeah. Thanks, Richard. That was just fucking great.
You knew when Richard asked to introduce the guest, it would be some bullshit.
Backhanded comment at me.
Yeah. It's just
usually
the way
is.
It works around here. Just beware if I ever ask to introduce the guest.
No, God. I'll run. I'll close the hangout. No, I'll just click off my part of the hangout and you guys will just remain live.
Yeah. Well, that's happened.
Yeah, last week. Because I'm a fucking moron.
Yeah, well.
But yeah, I had messaged Tim earlier in the week because the last time we had him on, he was a great guest. We had an awesome time with him. And, I just basically said, hey, anytime you want to do the show, we'd love to have you back on again. And
bam.
He messaged me the other day, and he was like, "Is Sunday too soon?" No, sir, it is not.
Sir. Chris messages me. He said,
I want to add something to that when I can.
Tim, you were probably one of the most requested guests. People keep asking for you to come back. So,
well, I'm glad to hear that, but I have a question though.
You mean Monster X Radio?
Yeah, Monster X Radio.
Yeah.
Pull any punches here, Tim?
Fuck no. But that's why Tim comes on, because Tim knows that we're here to have a good time,
right?
And he wants to join it. So
sure,
it's awesome. We love having you on, man. It was probably out of all the how many shows have we done, Chris?
Oh God, in total,
a lot.
Yeah, we're 6 days away from our 5-year anniversary, Steve.
Yeah, so I'd say that show, the last time Tim was on, was probably, as far as fun that we've had, number one.
Oh yeah. It cracked us up really well.
Yeah, it was a great show.
So. It was just before Christmas.
Yeah,
yes.
Glad to have you back, man.
And on the Santa hat.
Correct. Yeah. And we were trying to, Richard and I were racking our brains yesterday trying to figure out something, because last time we had done Bigfoot trivia between you and Steve.
Oh, yeah. I lost, I think.
And we were going to try to do something like that, but we couldn't figure out anything to do. So we just said, fuck it. We'll just fly by the seat of our pants.
Yeah, I don't want to lose again.
Yeah, because you would.
No, because Tim is my intellectual superior.
Absolutely.
Your questions. I don't know.
I think it was fixed still to this day, and I've called the FCC and all that, and yeah, I haven't gotten any answers.
I know you did. They keep pestering me, and I keep telling them they've got no control over British citizens.
You've done none of those things.
No, I haven't done any of those things.
And Richard played into your bullshit lie.
But it worked.
Did it really?
No.
Way to break down the fourth wall there, Chris.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, we're all about the truth here, Richard.
Or are we?
Well,
See that he busted a hoax right live on the show. That was so good.
I know. Like,
Yeah,
that's what we do.
Even when it's one of us.
So, Tim, we're going to start out with our news segment tonight and then get into the meat and potatoes, as they say. So, Steve, do you have any news?
I think Tim Fasano should hum the news theme tonight.
Oh, Jesus.
Join in. You got to do that. You got to do it. No. All right.
No.
From the Daily Star. Why are all these UK newspapers or news websites always ragging on us and stuff? This is about the U.S. government storing alien spaceship materials at a secretive Las Vegas hangar. And I'm sure there's some proof in this story, too. The Pentagon's top secret advanced aerospace threat identification program, or AATIP, which I'm going to call it from now on, investigated flying saucers for 4 years from 2008. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. The groundbreaking program, which had a budget of $16.5 million, was launched after that's pounds, by the way, former Nevada Democrat Senator Harry Reid pushed for its creation.
Am I allowed to make a Steve Alcorn joke?
You can try.
If they're flying saucers, where are the flying teacups?
That was awesome. That was a great joke.
Was it really?
Yes.
No, it wasn't, Steve.
No, I've got to agree with Steve on this one. That was a good joke, Chris.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Just shut up.
Perfect. Bigelow Aerospace, founded by entrepreneur and ufologist Robert Bigelow, who's 73, by the way, worked alongside government workers to study the strange reports, which are known as unidentified aerial phenomena. When the news of the X-File type project emerged last year,
wordy.
Okay, it was reported that materials and alloys from crash UFOs was being stored at Bigelow's 50-acre headquarters on the northern edge of Vegas, Las Vegas. The Sunday Times reports this week how the site is now fortified with razor wire, concrete barriers, and patrolled by armed guards. Conspiracy theorists claim that debris from alien spaceships is kept there. Thus, all the security measures. The New York Times reported last year.
Steve, if there's alien spaceship debris in some kind of establishment where they keep it, it's got to be ancient aliens.
Mm-hmm. The company modified buildings in Las Vegas for the storage of metal alloys and other materials that Mr. Elizondo and program contractors said had been recovered from unidentified aerial phenomena. Researchers also studied people who said that they experienced physical effects from encounters with the objects and examined them for physiological changes. It's not closed, according to Elizondo.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's right. Now we know where to go. You know, everybody says, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51 is one place, and Wright-Patterson is the other place that stores this shit. No, it's Bigelow.
Sure.
Now we know.
From
Wright-Patterson, Ohio.
Wright-Patterson. That's not too far from me. I should go check. I should just go right down the road. Huh?
Columbus?
No, I live in a little town called Conneaut, but we're north of Youngstown, so we're right up on Lake Erie. So,
Oh, you're near Cleveland.
about an hour and a half, yeah. Woman, not women, woman, one, single, says she is having sex with her dead boyfriend's ghost.
Oh, boy.
This is from another UK newspaper, by the way, Metro. The woman
Say
known
what
as,
you like about us, Brits. We make the craziest shit up.
yeah, the woman known
Good
as
point.
Simone. The woman known only as Simone said she was definitely sure the ghost was her former partner. Speaking to New Zealand radio, see, this is from New Zealand, Richard, so you're safe. New Zealand radio show The Edge, the woman said, "I get some good sensations." I was in a long-term relationship.
Good vibrations, you mean?
That's called your vibrator, honey.
Bet she attached it to his urn and everything.
Oh my God, you've gone too far, Richard. You have. I was in a long-term relationship, and unfortunately, he passed away. Simone told hosts Jono Pryor and Sharon Casey, I don't know. But yeah, he still visits me every now and then and lets me finish, I suppose.
As selfless in death as he was in life.
Yeah.
The radio presenters had asked listeners to call in if they had ever had any experience with ghosts. Explaining her own unique encounter, Simone said, "Well, I just sort of know he's there. I get some things, some little notes to know when he's in the room. And then, I get a bit excited and he comes closer and closer." Host Sharon asked, "Are you sure it's not just a dream?" She says, "No, I'm definitely sure it's him." She clarified that the intimacy involved no kissing, but some sensations. "I honestly have no words," the host said.
I have no fucking words either.
Oh, man. Not one, but two ghost sex stories tonight. This is from the Mirror. Woman claims she's in a serious and sexual relationship with ghosts she met in Australia, and they want kids.
Awesome.
Did she meet him online or?
I don't know. Let's find out. A woman who claims
on a dating website.
A woman who claims she has had sex with ghosts has now revealed she's in a serious and sexual relationship with one. And
Spookygasms.com.
You better go register that now. They've even discussed having children. Amethyst Realm hit the headlines last year when she revealed she slept with not one, but 15 ghosts since breaking up with her fiancé
dirty whore.
years ago.
Whoa. She gets around the ghost world, huh? Been passed around like a peace pipe.
Maybe ghostwhore.com. The ghost who Amethyst can't see but believes she can communicate and have sex with has now returned with her to the UK, and their relationship is progressing.
Did she have to buy him a plane ticket?
Wait, how did he get through immigration? Wasn't he stopped?
I don't know. He's a ghost.
Well, still, we've got fucking border checks. I mean, that's not cool if she smuggled him in illegally.
Speaking to Australian website New Idea, she said, "One day while I was walking through the bush, enjoying nature, I suddenly felt this incredible energy. I knew a new lover had arrived." She said, "It's pretty serious." See, now I'm supposed to be the only one that laughs at those references. But she said it's pretty
sorry,
serious.
Steve, for taking the limelight away from you.
In fact,
we'll go straight face now. We'll totally play it straight.
All right, I bet. In fact, we've been thinking about having a ghost baby. This is her words, by the way. I know that sounds crazy, but I've been looking into it, and I don't think it's totally out of the question. She believes phantom pregnancies are actually ghost babies, claiming they don't go to term because the human body and mind can't process them. Last year, Amethyst appeared on This Morning to talk about the fact that she left her
She's
fiance.
going to get artificially inseminated and claim she got fucking knocked up by a ghost.
She left her fiance after he caught her having an affair with a spirit.
What?
Ah.
Just say that again. Oh, I must have had something crazy stuck in my ear.
She left her fiance after he caught her having an affair with a ghost spirit.
No, I definitely heard it. Wow.
I am fucking speechless.
There's nothing you can say to that.
Amethyst said that one night she decided to dress in sexy lingerie and hang around the spare room where she'd felt the ghost present the most. She said she waited.
Jesus.
She said she waited a while before anything happened and feared that she'd put the ghost off by coming on too strong. But she claims that just before falling asleep, the ghost turned up and they had sex. She said she's gone off men completely, and she's had sexual relationships with 14 ghosts, other ghosts.
Look at her go. She's a goer, Steve.
But Holly, well, the word gets out pretty quick of a woman who's willing.
His body's pretty shit, but he's got a really great spirit.
She's down to fuck as long as you're dead.
Man.
Is that necrophilia? What is that?
I don't know.
She said she's done some research into phantom pregnancies. This is her words. There's a possibility that a ghost is in you, but people don't know how to carry it to full term. She says,
Oh, dear.
Jesus.
I don't know.
Phantom. Yeah, I can see where she.
Well, here's
Wow.
where it started. Amethyst went on to discuss how her relationship with her fiance ended after he caught her in bed with a ghost. She said, he says he saw the shape of a man through the window when he pulled up outside. Amethyst said she believes her first ghost was in love with her and says when she was in love with it, but that thing fizzled out in the end.
Things fizzled out.
I don't know.
Well,
Kinda
you get
just
used to each
faded
other
away.
and then you get bored.
All right, that's it. That is the news,
Wow.
Dun, dun,
Just
dun, dun, dun,
wow.
dun, dun, dun.
gentlemen. Okay. Way to start out the show.
So I'd mentioned to Tim that we wanted to talk about how Bigfoot porn has gotten into the midterm elections. Richard, did you pull that story up?
I did.
Could
Sorry, I
you
was muted.
could we go over that again?
We sure can. Just give me 1 second, Arena.
Okay.
One.
Yeah, you're all
Okay,
done.
here we go. A
that was
Democratic
good.
candidate. Fucking cookies came up. A Democratic candidate is in a hotly contested U.S. House race in Virginia has accused her opponent of supporting white supremacists. Oh, and also liking Bigfoot porn. So this is just going to get me started again. Democrat Leslie Cockburn sparked, shut up, Steve, sparked a Twitter frenzy on Sunday by sharing a curious drawing, apparently taken from Republican rival Denver Riggleman's, shut up again, Steve, Instagram page, showing a Bigfoot-like creature with its genitals obscured by a censored sign. Riggleman was caught on camera campaigning with a white supremacist. Cockburn wrote in the tweet referring to the video showing her opponent hitting the campaign trail with Isaac Smith, co-founder of white nationalist group Unity and Security for America. Now he has been exposed as a devotee of Bigfoot erotica. Cockburn continued. Cockburn faced his Riggleman on the November ballot for Virginia's 5th congressional district, which includes Charlottesville, the site of last year's deadly white supremacist rally. She later shared another image from Riggleman's Instagram page, which has since been set to private. That image shows Riggleman's face superimposed on a drawing of Bigfoot, which also has its genitals obscured.
I feel pretty bad for the 5th congressional district of Virginia, just because these are the two candidates. But go ahead.
Is that the whole story?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you didn't mention that Riggleman is writing a book about Bigfoot and the mating habits.
Bigfoot sex.
Yeah, Bigfoot sex.
Bigfoot sex, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which we definitely have to read and review.
Well, yeah,
We
when it
have
comes out. It'll be a couple months.
So, and you hadn't heard about this at all, Tim?
No.
So here's a synopsis of the story. Denver Riggleman was campaigning on the campaign trail, and there were white supremacists on the campaign trail with him. He has since denounced that. His opponent couldn't get any traction on the white supremacy thing, so she found a picture of Bigfoot with its penis obscured on his Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, because he's writing a book about the mating habits of Bigfoot. And that became the big topic. So that's what we're discussing.
So he really is writing this book.
Oh yeah.
He's written proof Bigfoot exists at this point. So how do you write about the
tongue-in-cheek type thing?
Oh.
But now we're concerned because she's making this a big deal about the
Bigfoot porn and not the white supremacy thing.
Well, because she couldn't get any traction with the fact that he was, hanging out with a white supremacist, she went after him for his love of Bigfoot porn. Which, and I mean...
They were white, makes her think they were white supremacists.
Campaigning with.
So, and when that didn't get any traction,
Someone's trying to protect their culture, and they're
not the candidate,
Not the candidate.
the guy he was hanging out with.
Yeah, definitely one of those.
I'm not familiar with any of this, so I really shouldn't say anything.
No, Tim's smart. Tim's smart. Don't speak on something that you really don't have the facts to.
In England, will cast.
Told him multiple times not to do something, and he did it. So it wasn't spurious; it was contempt, and it was completely legally justified.
They had no legal right to tell him to do.
He was interfering with the closed court proceedings.
He was standing 200 yards away with a camera. How's that interfering with court proceedings? He was out,
and he did it anyway. So it wasn't a spurious charge. Let's just get that one logged away. And secondly, he bloody is a white supremacist. He spends ages building up hate towards Muslims, especially, telling everyone that they're inferior and they're trying to take away our culture and stuff.
I have no idea what any of this is about. So.
They
on the Muslims quite a lot. He founded the EDL, which is England's foremost hate group against Muslims. Not that the Muslims don't give as good as they get.
Hate group. They ever said he didn't say the whole lot. That's what they do with Trump.
He has said in the past that we should get rid of all the Muslims. He has said we should deport them all. Okay.
I don't know about that, but what would be so wrong about protecting its own? That's like saying writing letters in the 19th century eliminated borders. That's a ridiculous assertion.
Are you all for the New World Order, Richard?
Oh, totes am.
Wow. You heard it here first.
Call me Richard the Antichrist.
Wow. That's some shit.
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that at all. None of it. I was going to.
You're staying right out of that one.
I was going to, and then I thought, would that be good? No. Man, I don't do politics, and that sounds a little politicky to me. So,
no.
I mean, I see the point on both sides.
It's estimated by some institutes that by the year 2035, England will be run by Sharia law and will be an Arab nation.
Gaelic, but
well,
you said Gaelic.
James Joyce was one of the
hell.
James Joyce probably had the best command of the English language out of any writer.
We'll get to the Bigfoot stuff. But first of all, let's put all of this on the back burner. What the actual fuck, Steve?
You said Gaelic.
Yeah, it's a language.
Yeah. It's also an act of... Yeah, never mind.
It's not even spelled the same. It's got an E, not a Y. Jesus.
But it sounds funny.
Donald Trump speaks Gaelic. He learned it from his mother.
Wow, this just fucking went right down the fucking tubes.
Bigfoot sex.
Moving on.
Bigfoot porn.
Moving
on.
We
get back to the subject.
Yeah, let's get back to the
Bigfoot porn. Come on.
Well, he shot that one out of the water, Steve.
Well, because he doesn't know anything about the subject. Apparently, he knows a lot about British politics. So.
Not really.
But why don't we move on to because you had some stuff to talk about Bigfoot in general. Why don't we move on to that?
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Tim's got some opinions about the state of the Bigfoot community.
Strong
or
beliefs.
Bigfoot research community, as it should be put. I don't know what those are currently.
Tim, can you switch your video off?
I'm sorry. Do what?
Buffering.
On my computer, I can.
Well, no,
everything fine.
Well, no, the people.
I'm not allowed in the chat room, so.
Well, Steve, what are you seeing on your computer?
I'm not watching the show live. I'm watching just what's in the Hangout. I can see you, but apparently the people in the Hangout or the live show, the live stream, are having issues.
Dun, 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 dun.
I don't know. Would it matter is it lag on Tim or is it lag on the entire show?
I don't know.
Well, I'm asking.
We've never had this problem before when we had a guest on with video.
Is it lag on Tim?
I have it on. Yeah, I am lagging a little bit.
Tim, click the little camera icon at the top.
Guest on with video.
Is it?
Can they hear me on the
portion?
This is the technical difficulty.
He's listening to the fucking show.
I have it on.
Dear God.
Is there a time lag?
on the actual live stream, there's a time lag. You'll have to turn the live off.
Yeah. Turn the show off, Tim.
Not the Hangout, just the show.
I turned the show off.
There you go. Yeah, that's probably better.
Was that creating drag?
Tim,
Yeah,
at the top of the Hangout box, you can shut off your video.
But your audio will stay on.
Yes.
Well, why don't I want to shut it off for?
And just turn your bandwidth down.
Bar looking thing?
Next to the camera. In between the camera and the gear.
The top of the Hangout.
Would it be to the right or to the left or?
To the right of the little camera icon.
Oh, okay. It looked adjust bandwidth usage. Okay.
Yeah, if you turn that down, you can turn it down all the way. It won't
just
shut off your audio. It'll just shut off your video.
Yeah, just turn that right down.
And then you won't lag.
On full blast.
Yeah.
Yep. Turn it all the way down to nothing.
Will they still be able to see me?
No,
No,
but
they'll be able to hear
that's
you.
where we're running into the problem.
So
too.
if you want to, put on your InfoWars hat one more time.
I have it on halfway. Will that work?
You still got video. At least on my end.
We're trying to eliminate the lag for the people listening.
You can try it. If they'll let us know if there's still lag.
50%.
Okay, we'll try it that way.
Okay.
And they'll give us feedback. And then Richard will let us know.
All right. Let me know about the feedback. I can adjust this by percentage.
Yeah.
And it says you're just hearing a voice in the dark. That's
No, we everybody wants to see your glowing
beautiful face. Huh?
That's right. We go off camera only because we've had issues in the past with lag and things like that. So
What are they saying now?
Well,
Richard,
we got to kind of give it some time, but
Will's saying it's better. Katie's saying it's better. So it looks like that's better for everyone.
all right.
good enough. Moving along.
Yes. So the state of the Bigfoot research community. Tim Fasano, go.
Just make one more adjustment here. I'm down to 25%.
Oh boy.
You're fine.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Let's talk about Bigfoot research.
Or not.
Yeah, or not. We'll sit here and fuck with the goddamn.
Yeah. Bigfoot research. I have a little bit to say on that.
As long as
Night
2
show.
hours. My God, I can't talk that long.
All the way, Tim.
The technology, obviously. There are complaints of lag.
yeah, Tim.
Yeah.
That's why we don't use video.
What should I do?
Just knock it down
Just
all the way.
shut it off.
It'll shut your camera down,
Yeah,
but
there
that's
you go.
okay
And they can see the picture of you.
with your camera.
Okay, that's what I just did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, so that's why I only see icons, avatars of you guys as opposed to live
Yes.
video.
Correct.
All right.
Although my
That's
bandwidth's
the
not
last time that it worked correctly.
And I'm secretly Steven Strufert, so my video can't be seen.
yeah.
Is he a friend of yours?
No, he's not.
I see. Well, I have to say before you get into your thing, Tim, I saw your little back and forth with Mr. Strufort, or your alter ego, as it may be, and I thought it was you guys worked that out like gentlemen. I mean, people in the Bigfoot community can still be gentlemen. I like that. Go ahead, carry on, Tim.
All right. I began shooting the videos in actually March 5th, 2009, and 9.5 years ago. And I put them up on the YouTube, raw and uncut. In other words, if I shot 2.5 minutes, I put the 2.5 minute video up on the YouTube because there wasn't any sense in really editing anything because the dial-up couldn't handle it.
Right.
But I don't want to be telling about technical stuff, but I looked up on Google, and apparently there was a guy, Tim Stover, who was from Ohio, who had been doing Bigfoot videos for about 6 months before I started. And he had a pretty interesting channel, as well as First Billy Jack. And I don't know if you remember him, Steve, but
gosh, no.
Because I found First Billy Jack because I was looking up wood knocking, because my first video involved wood knocking.
And he was the one that posted a porcupine in a tree and said it was Bigfoot.
Ah, okay.
Well, you remember that? No, that's a misrepresentation of what happened then. He put a video up of a porcupine in a tree on a Friday, for example. And he asked his viewers if anyone could identify what this was, because he believed it could have been a monkey. And 3 days later, in 300 comments, no one knew what it was. Finally, somebody said they believed it was a porcupine. And now all of a sudden, the 300 people that had no clue what it was became experts. And then they accused him of being stupid. But he wasn't being stupid. He presented it and showed it and said, "What do you think it is?" And I thought he was just being honest about it. I don't know what the hell this damn thing is. Most city slickers go out in the woods and they see an animal they're not familiar with it. They don't know what it is. But anyway, enough of that. I really only had 2 points of view in my camera, even though, as you see my avatar here, I'm holding a camera. I used to be a professional photographer for many years with the Sarasota Herald Tribune. And I know a lot about photography. Some people have found some of the images I used to do back in the past.
Very good images, I might add.
Yeah. What?
I said very good images. I've seen
them. Oh, yeah. I do a lot of images. And what you're probably referring to amounted to less than 1% of what I did, but that's the one that some of my haters wanted to focus on.
No. I'm talking about
video. So I had two shots. I had holding the camera pointed ahead of me, a point of view shot, and I had the selfie shot, and that was it. And it was good because it was real easy to come home and just download everything onto the internet. You didn't need to have titles. You didn't need to have music. You didn't need to do slick editing and cut sequences together. You just put up what you filmed and let people watch it, and they'll tell you what they think you may have captured. And that was a technique I used for years. I did no editing on my videos. It just raw, out of the can, put it up on to the YouTube. And I gained a pretty decent following. And then this blog came along called bigfootevidence.blogspot.com that was run by...
We are familiar with it.
We are slightly familiar. I've heard of it, yes.
Yeah, yes. Vaguely heard of it.
This guy who was a refugee, I believe as a child, his parents were refugees from Cambodia. No, Laos,
yeah.
He came to the United States and he started this blog. And you talk about a meteoric rise. He went from nothing to, whoops, just lost everything here.
You're good. We can still hear you.
Yeah, you're still here.
There we go. Okay. It became more popular than Crypto Mundo, because at the time he came along, everyone was doing blogs, and he became the most popular blog. And he used to feature my work all the time. Any video I put up, he featured it. And at first I thought it was great because people were looking at my work. I always believe what Ronald Reagan said. It doesn't matter what they say about you as long as they spell your name correctly.
Sorry
And
about that.
in the long run, he was doing me no favor.
What the fuck?
Are we in commercial or something?
Yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, dude.
But we've had enough train wrecks, all right? Let's just fucking...
Shut
turn
your
the
fucking
sound
phone off.
I did. That's a commercial for eBay.com. When
Oh,
you
was it?
need something, go to eBay. Go ahead. Finish, Tim.
Commercial over with.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we are live. 3, 2, 1, go.
You see, Tim, I sell on eBay. And
You see, Steve fucking train wrecks the goddamn show every week. Continue, Tim.
Looking back on it, Sean really did not do me any favors. He was deliberately feeding me to his carnivorous trolls who were looking for red meat anywhere they could find it. And they would insult me. And I'm sure you're familiar with how juvenile his commenters were.
Oh, very much so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just hundreds and hundreds of comments about my physical size, what I looked like, that I was a faker, that I was a hoaxer. Usually the complaint against me would be twofold. One, they would say you're a hoaxer, and two, you don't find anything. Well, if I'm hoaxing to find nothing, what the hell kind of a hoaxer am I? But
Tim,
yes,
you said that nothing's off limits, right? I would like to point out at this juncture that you did exactly the same thing to yourself and other people with the Bigfoot Buster website.
Oh, the Bigfoot Buster website?
Yeah, and that was the exact same thing of what you're talking about.
Okay, am I able to answer that question, or have you already got your mind made up?
No, I'm just making a statement. You can respond any way you want to. It's uncensored, and you have the right to free speech.
Oh, so this is not Google then? Okay.
No.
Yeah, it is Google actually.
It is technically. They could shut us down any moment, but go for it. Say what's on your
Okay,
mind.
I'm actually glad that you brought that up because most people that are new to Bigfoot probably don't even know what you're talking about. So let me explain. And when the three biggies on YouTube were myself, Tim Stover, and First Billy Jack, all of a sudden this website, this blog appeared on Blogger. It was called bigfootbusters.blogspot.com. And the man that hosted it didn't use his real name. It was anonymously published. And the whole purpose of this blog was to put up defamatory postings about me, Tim Stover, and First Billy Jack. And it was relentless in his utter criticism of what we were doing. I began to suspect that it was not a man, but it was a female that was writing the post. And I based that on the effusiveness of the language being used. It was either a female or a gay man that was writing it. So that didn't really help much. But when I did suggest that in one of my videos, 2 days later, they posted a video on the site in which it was a woman who had on sunglasses and was waving, "Hi, everybody." And so she knew that I had figured out that it was a woman. Well, it continued on and on. Somebody was able to find out who was publishing that blog. And the guy, I can't remember his name right now. I'd have to look it up. But he was the vice president of the American Sasquatch Association. He held the same rank that Melissa Hovey held in that organization. He was somebody that was notable and respected.
The position of a complete fucking asshole.
Wait, what?
We have our some of us have opinions on Melissa Hovey, but go ahead.
Well,
I was just interjecting. That's all, Tim.
Go ahead.
okay.
Finish.
Well, Tim Stover did a video in which he said he's holding these documents that somebody had mailed him. And he says, I know who you are, guy. I even have photos of your house. And he says, you got 24 hours to take down your web blog. And apparently a lawyer had gotten involved, and he was the one that found out about it. And he said what the man was doing amounted to slander. So the guy called, he called Tim, apologized. He ran a YouTube channel called Squatch Inc. I don't know if you remember them.
I don't recall that one.
Okay. Well, they went out of business right after that. Well, the guy never called me, or he never apologized to me. And about a year later, I was still pissed off at all the things that this guy had said about me. He even paid money to run background investigations to find out where I had worked and who I'd been married to and so forth, looking for criminal records and credit reports. And what the fuck does any of that have to do with Bigfoot, correct?
I agree.
Okay. So I started a blog I had saved his, I'd screenshotted all of his shit. So I used the same banner, everything, and I started a blog in which the first post was, hey, do you miss me? The first guy, his first name was Toby. I remember that much now. It's coming back to me. And I wrote posts insulting me, just like it was his wife that was doing the writing. But I wrote in her style, because I can be effusive when I need to be. And I wrote posts about Fasano still out in the woods, and I could see he hasn't lost any weight. And then on and on and on it went. And I was criticizing other people in the Bigfoot world. I even posted up some emails that I'd found. The whole thing was to get heat on this guy to make him feel the same thing that I was feeling. Now, somebody found out that I was the one that was writing the blog. Oh, well, so what? You ever hear of Anonymous? Big deal. All right, so I took the blog down. And it doesn't matter because I'll give you a good example. Politics has a lot to do with this business, believe it or not. If certain people or certain groups don't like you, it doesn't matter what you do. You will never be in their good favor no matter what. You could get the next Patterson film and it wouldn't matter, okay?
Agreed.
I mentioned Crypto Mundo. There's a guy named Loren Coleman who started that.
Yeah.
Now, from the day that I began, Loren Coleman has never once, not ever, mentioned me in his blog. I understand he doesn't do Crypto Mundo anymore, that someone else does. But he never mentioned me at all, and I believe the only reason he never mentioned me was because of political reasons. He didn't like me for some reason. Now, I'm part of Bigfoot history. To just be a history denier and think that I never existed is just wrong. Now, there were 3 articles that Coleman did about timber giant Bigfoot, in which he questioned some of Timber Giant's findings. Now, Coleman quoted from a website called Intriguing Phenomenon, in which Intriguing Phenomenon had busted out Timber Giant Bigfoot. And Coleman quoted from it. But what Coleman did not know is that I am the publisher, editor, and writer and developer of Intriguing Phenomenon. He was quoting me and he didn't even know it because I maintain the site anonymously. So that blows out the anonymous theory. So what? Who gives a fuck about that?
Right.
Okay? He only quoted me because he didn't think it was me. If he knew it was me, he wouldn't have touched it. So that proved to me that he was biased in his thoughts about me. I was good enough to quote when he thought it was some intellectual from another source. Anyway, I hope that clarifies something here because.
So the original, we're getting some feedback. I can hear some feedback. The original Bigfoot Busters was not your site. It was run by some gentleman named Toby.
Who
And his
was
wife.
the vice president of the American Sasquatch Association, and I think the president at the time was Melissa Hovey.
The second reiteration of Bigfoot Busters was yours.
Was me, the second reiteration, correct. And it was merely an attempt to get at his ass and no other motive behind it. And most of the criticism on the remake was directed towards me. I was writing stupid shit about me. I was criticizing my own videos.
That's great shit, man.
You talk about a Machiavellian approach, huh?
Well, no, I mean, it throws people off the trail. I mean, if you're doing it that way, because Fasano wouldn't say that about himself, you know, that kind of thing. So
Yeah,
nobody
I call
would have
myself a fat fucker on my own blog.
I love it.
It was Steve Coles that figured that out from the Google ads.
Cole's is pretty good at figuring that kind of shit out. But no, yeah, I didn't, because I think that was prior to me really getting into the investigative side of things. I found a lot of things out. You know, I've done backgrounds on you, Tim, not paid backgrounds, because I'll never do paid background. Why should I? I don't have to. It's all on Google. Everything's public, you know.
My life is an open book. I don't care.
And there's some things that I've learned about you that I wouldn't share publicly, and there's things that I would. And you know, I found a lot of your old photographs, and I have to say they're phenomenal. They're great. Mostly like calendar girl type stuff is what I found. And you did a fantastic job. But I agree that there's a limit on what we should be looking for. If somebody's has some criminal behavior, let's take Dyer, for example, Rick Dyer. There's some criminal activity that's gone on in his past. Should that be taken into consideration? Absolutely, when you're trying to figure out if somebody's hoaxing. But to go as far as doing background checks on some animal that hasn't been proven yet, I mean, that's going a little bit too far. You want to do it on Google and stuff like that, and you can find that stuff, that's one thing, but to pay for it and take it that seriously, I think that's just going too far. So,
Well, that's how I thought that they had approached me, and that's why I was out for revenge.
yeah.
And that was the whole purpose of that blog. Yeah. You see, so Richard reads some fake news somewhere, and there's not a full understanding of what was going on there. So he thinks that I just made that thing up for no reason.
I'm fake news, I thought.
But you did do it, Tim, which is what I said.
He did the second version, not the first.
Right.
I did the
But
second.
he did do it.
Yes, he did.
And Toby was getting heat. Oh my God, he was getting heat bad, man. And that was good. And then he did the final post of squatchinc.blogspot.com, and the final post was saying what a fucking piece of shit I was. And there was another guy, Crypto Florida. .blogspot.com. His final post was, "What a piece of shit I was." I'm actually rather proud of that, because if I'm able to get that kind of reaction out of people who consider themselves to be serious, and I'm just a cab driver from Tampa, Florida, and I can get that kind of reaction out of these people, well, then I feel rather proud about that.
Your job here is done.
So, question from the chat room. What are your thoughts on Nathan Rio's departure from Bigfootery?
Oh, he departed?
Yeah, he's done.
Oh, good. I mean,
His name was Rio, and he dances in the sand.
He went away for about 4 or 5 months, and then he came back. So he's gone again?
Yeah, I don't think he was gone, because he was getting into it with Matthew Johnson for a while. They had a big brouhaha.
that ought to be awesome to read.
And now he's made a video saying he's done with Bigfoot and he wants to move on to other projects. So I wondered what your thoughts were about that.
Well, he had a new YouTube out where he was doing health and vitamins. And he said that he was doing it because he had brain fog and was trying to cure his condition. And after about 3 months of doing it, he only had 100 subs on his site. So he went back to doing the Bigfoot, where he has a crazy amount of subscribers. Why he would leave that? I mean, if something's even if you don't believe in it, even if you're a charlatan, if it's working for you, keep it up, is what I would think. There's only a limited market on vitamins. I don't know why he went that direction.
Well, there's a limited market on Bigfoot too.
Yeah,
I know just from doing my own, yeah, probably a little bit bigger. I mean, who goes to YouTube looking for vitamins? You know, people do go to YouTube looking for Bigfoot and paranormal type stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you don't make a lot of. I mean, Tim, I don't expect you to disclose your numbers, but you're not making a ton of money off of your YouTube. I mean, none of us are.
My analytics as of yesterday, the last 28 days, 1,200,000 minutes viewed on the channel, 400,000 views, an average gain of 703 subscribers a month.
Wow. And
a revenue of $358.
You can't retire on that shit.
You what?
You can't retire on that.
No. But you asked me a specific question. I'll give you a specific answer.
Hey, and I'm glad that you did, because a lot of people were thinking, well, Tim Fasano's in this for the YouTube views and the YouTube money. There isn't a lot of money in it.
When I started, when I tell you about the AOL dial-up, there was no AdSense. There was nothing like that. It was all a vanity thing. Called YouTube. You're the guy on the tube. You're the guy on television. You were posting videos either to get out information or just to see yourself, but there was no profit incentive. That didn't happen until years later. See, I never had a clue. I mean, as far as $350 goes, if someone's going to deposit that in your checking account every month, Steve, I'm sure you'll take it. Sure, why not?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I never thought that would be the motive behind why people are getting into this field now. And this is connecting to what I wanted to talk about. My belief is that money and the smell of money has corrupted the entire field. And it is all now a competition to get the most subs, the most views, the most clicks, and make the most money. And the only way you can do that is that you have to one-up your competition. And the only way you can one-up them is if they find a footprint in the woods, you've got to find two. If the next guy finds two, you've got to find three. If somebody gets a 20-second sequence of howls, you've got to get a 30-second sequence. And on it goes. You simply have to do a better job than they do. So when you get guys like Kelly Shaw, who walks out into the woods and says, I hear knocks and howls, and I hear footprints and movement, and we see structures, and we got this and that. He's simply trying to outdo everyone else in the field.
Right.
An objective scientist.
Certainly managed that.
What?
Kelly Shaw has certainly outdone other Bigfoot researchers in the field.
Well, you also have to have sightings. Now, I work the Green Swamp in Florida, and there's another group of researchers called the Trail to Bigfoot that works the Green Swamp. They work the same areas I work, okay? And it's a tall. Are you
How
familiar?
far away from Sylvanic is that?
Florida is diagonal from the Pacific Northwest. Steve, are you familiar at all with Trail to Bigfoot?
I've seen a little bit from them, yeah. Not much, but some.
Okay, there's a tall guy and a short guy. You got a guy 6'4", and the other guy's like 5'9". And the tall guy, every video, almost every moment of it, he's constantly seeing something out of the corner of his eye. This guy's name is Mark. And
oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
I know who you're talking about.
I just saw something out of the corner of my eye. I just heard something up ahead. Saw some movement over here. There were some knocks going on when we came into the area. And on it goes with this guy in every video. Just pull out any video that they've made, click any time stamp at random. And within seconds, you'll hear this guy saying that he heard something or saw something. And the shorter guy named Chris Connor, he plays straight man to all this. I know Chris. I'd met him once. He's a very intelligent guy.
Steve doesn't play the straight man. Just
No,
so-
he's
no, we can't do that. No, because I know what you're referring to. I am happily married to a woman.
As a 14-inch dildo.
Go on, Tim. Don't let them derail you.
he tries to use scientific terms and jargon to impress the viewers, like vortex and azimuth, and which is a compass reading. And he'll say that he got the same perception, but it's more than just Mark saying he saw something. They started doing slick intros with cinematic music scores and using slow motion camera movements and quick rifling of scenes and the fade out and the fade in and just about every transitional trick you can think of that's used in editing of documentary films and movies and so forth. All of that is what you do when you are doing entertainment. None of that has a damn thing to do with science. The reason I mentioned my stats was to show you the only reason I can continue to maintain those type of numbers is I have to compete against these guys. I have to take unwanted hours that I wish I didn't have to do, because I can't just put up the raw videos like I used to anymore, because no one will watch the damn things. I've got to make slicker videos. I'm learning a lot about editing along the way, but it's only because these guys are using these techniques to gain an audience, to make money. They've even compiled a DVD that they sold to Amazon Prime, so you can find it on Amazon, and I guess they're getting paid to do that. Their entire purpose seems to be for money. There's nothing about it that's scientific. They've no more found a goddamn skunk ape than I have, okay? And they're pulling people's legs because Chris knows better. Now, he used to be in the military. Now, here's the whole thing. In every one of their videos, they're wearing uniforms. They're wearing khaki-colored military pants with boots, dark shirts, hats, camo backpacks. Everything about their appearance strikes as a paramilitary unit. And that's the impression they're trying to get. If you're doing science, why are you dressing like a paramilitary unit? You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You
Okay.
do a lot of research in the green swamps. Have you ever looked for skunk ape in the Everglades?
The Everglades is a good 4.5 hours from here.
Ah, okay.
So I've only been down there a couple times.
That was a question from the chat room. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. That's hard terrain to work down there. The damn thing is literally underwater. But anyway, I'm the point I'm trying to make, and the reason you say, well, why would you care? Are you just jealous or something? It has nothing to do with jealousy. They're siphoning off viewership, people that should be watching real science. But if it's just entertainment now, I can go that direction. I can go that, and I can do it even better than them. That's why I posted that video last night I was telling you about, where I tacked on to the end with the log being thrown. And I put a disclaimer about my videos are real, but they present a possibility that is not the only explanation. And I can do this. I won't be able to do what I used to do. See, the thing is, the guys that I worked with, Kevin, who's the tall guy, and George, these guys are they work in television production. But they won't do that with me. They won't go, oh, I think I heard this and I heard that. And if you hear a sound in the woods, how can you just say that that's Bigfoot? You know how many varieties of owls there are that make calls? What?
I was fooled by an owl one time, and they make so many different sounds.
Yes.
And it wasn't just me. There was 3 or 4 of us that heard it, and it was something we'd never heard before.
And you guys are both triggering Richard right now.
Yeah, Richard doesn't like owls.
An owl.
We do have a recording of it, and we put it out to, well, it was Stover's group. We put it in Stover's group because we're from Ohio. All of us were at the time. This is when I was pretty new. And it was quickly debunked. And we didn't go out, and say, nah, we don't believe what you're saying. This is Bigfoot. We just accepted the fact that it was an owl, just one that we'd never heard before. It was really a weird sound, but it wasn't a Bigfoot,
Yeah, especially the first time you hear a barred owl.
Yeah, this thing was crazy weird, but it turned out to be an owl. And I'd say it was Michael Shaw. Remember Michael Shaw, Chris?
Do I remember? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's the one who found what it was for us, and that was that, and it was over with, and we didn't go around saying, and the same with that Norm Glasser thing. As soon as we knew it wasn't what I thought it was, we quickly changed tunes on it, because we're not going to sit out there and put out false information just because we want to make some YouTube money or something like that. But most people aren't that way. Not most people, a lot of people.
With what I was saying was they right after Hurricane Irma came through Central Florida, they talking about Trail to Bigfoot, they were finding a lot of deadfall in trees that were lying together or just been pushed up against each other, and they were forming teepees. Well, the way they presented it was that these teepees were not a result of storm damage, but they were a result of Bigfoot pushing these trees over. Now, if you just had a hurricane come through your area, I think it would be more logical to think that the hurricane knocked the trees over, not Bigfoot.
Right.
Right. And then he took his compass, and then he would measure. It's 138 degrees. And everyone at his party's going, oh, 138 degrees. Oh, they did another measurement. 236. Oh my God. 236. And then they found another TP, and then they found a third one. Now, Richard might appreciate that. He told the one girl that's with them, I think her name is Betty. I think it might be his sister, I'm not sure. He said, I took a look on the map where the 3 TPs were located, and they form a triangle. And the girl goes, no way. He goes, yes way. They form a triangle. Well, you could take 3 objects, 3 empty beer cans, and toss them onto your living room floor. And you know what shape they're going to form, Steve?
A triangle?
A triangle. No way.
What do I win?
Have a cookie.
No, it goes further than that. The star in Orion, Betelgeuse, as it lines up with Sirius.
Juice.
And the belt of Orion.
Don't say it a third time, Richard.
It's called the Orion Triangle. It's in the sky. You can see it on a constellation map.
It's where the ancient aliens come from.
Well, they did a video where they're showing the star map behind him as he's standing in front of one of the teepees at night, and they lined up the 3 stars, and they lined up perfectly with the top and the 2 at the bottom. The isosceles triangle form, and the implication, he wouldn't say it directly, but what he was stating was that they were building these objects to show where they were from, and they were actually from where the Orion Triangle is from, out in space. Now, this is what I don't understand, where you get a guy like Bigfoot Tony, who does breakdowns of people's videos. No one touched that. To me, that video was wide open. for extreme scrutiny, but nobody touched it. I've been searching every day. I search the internet to see if anybody has made a comment about that ridiculousness. Nobody has.
Well, maybe
there's only one person I trust when it comes to breakdowns, and some say.
But if you're going to make such outlandish claims, then as far as I'm concerned, then it's game over. If you want to compete on that level, I'm able to do that. Okay? And I can do it better than you do. Okay? Because apparently people don't want science. What I mean by science is I could put up 100 videos in a row, and in all 100 of them, there's no skunk ape. Why is there no skunk ape? I don't know. He didn't show up today. How am I supposed to make the guy show up, right?
If it were that easy, it would be a discovered species by now.
Thank you.
I mean, it just makes perfect sense.
So these guys, in my opinion, and I hope they're listening, they're making a goddamn mockery out of something that I take serious. And that's about really all I got to say about them.
Well, here's the thing with tree structures and things like that. There's no evidence that anything other than nature makes those. I can walk out into any patch of wooded area and see that kind of thing. I mean, it's everywhere. Fallen trees, and they form weird shapes because it's just the way they fall.
I know it.
You can make any.
I was going to drive through a McDonald's the other day, and it was a little wooded plot nearby, right, about 1 acre of woods. And I looked in there, and I could see a triangle formation of fallen logs. Does that mean Bigfoot was near the McDonald's knocking these things over?
Well, some say that he goes in dumpsters and eats food out of them. I'm just, of course not. But it's, you can see whatever you want to see when you go out in the woods, or even just driving down the road. I drove down a road the other day, and I looked off to the side, and there's a small patch of woods, and these fallen trees were everywhere. And some of them, some of the limbs were hanging up in the air, and some of them formed teepees, and some of them did different weird things that you wouldn't expect, but they're there. And it's a very small patch of woods. And if it's in that kind of small patch of woods, you would expect it on a bigger scale in a place like the Green Swamp or the Allegheny National Forest, or, the Pacific Northwest or something like that. So you can go into any place like that and form whatever you want as a conclusion.
Well, have you ever seen Colorado Bigfoot?
I've seen, I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, all of his videos look like a commercial for 84 Lumberyard. Looking, just fallen trees, fallen lumber, and of course, all of it is the result of Bigfoot in his mind. And then he'll use a sales technique that's commonly used by, I don't remember the pitch man, Billy Mays.
Mm-hmm.
If you call within the next 10 minutes, you get a 30% discount. He goes, folks,
may he rest in peace.
You won't believe this, folks. There's an area right there on that ridge line, right there where that mountain is. We got in there last week, and I'm telling you, it will blow your mind what we saw in there. Those videos will be coming up next week. Look down below, click subscribe, hit this. Believe me, you will not regret it. What we're going to show you coming up, even as early as tomorrow, is absolutely astonishing. The guy is using sales techniques to get people to hang on and subscribe and go along with his site. And that's just wrong. And what really, those guys really don't piss me off. What really pisses me off is that the Bigfoot community never says nothing about those guys. But when I was doing, what?
They eat it up. They love it.
When I was doing videos in my early days, I got ripped to shreds. How come they're not treated in the same manner I was?
Maybe, there's a lot of us who have just left it behind because it was such bullshit. It's become, when I first got into Bigfoot, I was excited and eager to learn and wanted to know things. And then I found all these people that you're talking about, and maybe not the specific people. Right. I don't know. I'm not going to make judgments on those people because I haven't seen a lot of their videos because I don't follow it as much anymore. But the people who are into Bigfooting nowadays just seem to just take people. You can't judge people. You're not allowed to. You can't make the
Everything's
judgments.
real. Everything's Bigfoot.
Yeah, you're not allowed to make the judgments, because if you do, you're the devil. You know, you might as well be Satan himself or Hitler or something. You can't make those judgments anymore.
As honest as the day is long, Tim Stover still does his videos, and unfortunately, he gets very little traffic. People don't sub because you know why? He's not pulling your leg.
He's never put anything in any of his videos that is objectionable. I mean, he'll tell you like it is. I met Tim in person. Tim's
He's
a great
guy, isn't he?
He's a good guy, yeah. And he's not putting anything into his videos. Like, he just had a drone video, and all it was the drone flying around, and you know, he's checking areas, but there's no Bigfoot. He's not making a claim of a Bigfoot in there, you know. So that's the type of video I wanted to see. I wanted to see what other people are doing as far as research, real research. I don't want to see every other sound is a Bigfoot, or every tree structure is a Bigfoot, or, you know, this rabbit in the snow track is Bigfoot because it's in a single line, that kind of thing. I don't want to see that shit. But that's the problem is Tim is one of the few that are doing it that way anymore. Very few. Nobody does it that way.
He's doing it just like he was 10 years ago.
Yeah, he hasn't changed a thing.
No.
And that's why his group is the only Bigfoot group I'm still in. I don't comment in there anymore. I mean, I'll go in every once in a while, but I don't, you know. But I still watch Tim's videos. He's the one Bigfooter that I still watch.
I am. Well, I hope you look at mine every now and then.
Every now and then. Every now and then.
Oh, I've always got time to watch a Tim Fasano Bigfoot video.
I've criticized Tim, your videos, Tim. You know that. I mean, there's been things that I thought maybe you were trying to pull people's legs at times, but you come across, if somebody just asks you the question, you'll tell them the answer, and that's why you're on our show, because we know that you're going to give us the answer.
Is there anything going on in the chat? Anybody want to ask anything?
Oh, our chat room
no, there's no questions for you. I ask them as they come up.
Yeah, our chat room, they like to fight amongst themselves.
It's
have fun.
Pretty much the same group of people that come every week, and they all know each other. So
they just sitting there and bullshit.
And that's why I'm not.
And try to get
things.
And try to fucking derail Steve and the show.
And they do a fine job.
They try to get Richard's panties in a bunch.
What do you think about the Miller document, Tim?
The what document?
The Miller document on Bigfoot.
What is that?
Oh, never mind. That's the answer to the question.
What is? No, I haven't heard of the Miller document either. Can somebody explain?
I'm a quick study. What is it?
I don't know.
Come on, I shut that off. Why is it still making noises? Oh, that wasn't me this time. That wasn't me this time. I don't think.
So we should move on to Alex Jones then.
Well, we've gotten Tim's.
Should we at this point?
His thoughts on the Bigfoot community and where it's going, and any final thoughts on that, Tim? On where it's going, and do you see it ever coming back to the way it was?
Well, no. I have a book that I'm reading, which is about Rene DeHonden.
Yeah,
who's considered one of the four horsemen,
right?
Pioneers of Bigfoot research. These guys came along at a time where there was no social media or anything. There was no way to get publicity. And they were doing their research because they believed there could be a Bigfoot out there. And Rene DeHonden
attack each other.
In 30 years, he only found one footprint and never had a sighting.
Yep.
And if he was doing YouTube today, he would be overlooked. No one would care. They say, oh, that guy, he don't find shit. I could go to trail the Bigfoot. They find it every time they go out in the woods. And that's something that really I've struggled with, because the guys that are honest, it's what you would expect with a rare species. You don't find it every time you go out in the woods. A tree snaps. Oh, well, shit, that's got to be Bigfoot, right? What else could it possibly be, right? Well, there's all kinds of critters out there. And will it ever return to what it used to be? No, I don't think so.
No, I don't.
Again, like I said, money and attention has really corrupted. It's corrupted science. There was a paleontologist, not a paleontologist, a primatologist, Dr. Esteban Sarmiento, Colombia. He's been on a lot of Bigfoot documentaries. And he said that the pressure in primatology is, like Professor Leakey found an ancient human bone that may have been 500,000 years old in Ethiopia. So now the pressure's on. The next guy's got to find something that's 600,000 years old.
Right.
And then the next guy comes along and finds something that's 1 million years old. Then it's 1.2. Then do I hear 1.4? And the reason you do that is because it's hard after 10 years of research and admit you have never found anything. So these people fudge it. Scientists do it because they want to continue with the research, continue with the money, and keep going on. So no, I don't see any going back to the way it was. Not as long as it's an entertainment genre.
Yeah.
The real scientists have to operate under the radar. They can't be doing YouTube. They can't be doing social media. The real scientists have to just operate like the old guys did.
I'm going to tell you, any primatologist out there would be thrilled to discover a Bigfoot. I guarantee it, because
Absolutely.
they would go down in frickin' history, you know? So when people say that there's no science behind any of it, those guys would love it if they could. Obviously, there's not enough evidence for them to be able to get funding and do things like that. But once there is that piece of evidence that shows them that, okay, this is a distinct possibility, they're going to be all over that shit, you know, because they're going to want to be the guy who discovers it.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have you ever met Dr. Jeff Meldrum?
I've interviewed him, but I haven't met him in person.
Well, I met him in person. I got a photograph standing next to him, and he's a great guy. He's a nice guy, but he makes a lot of money on Bigfoot appearances, Bigfoot books, documentaries. Would it be in his interest to just state one day, look, after examining the Bigfoot issue for the last 20 years, I have found no conclusive evidence that a Bigfoot exists, and therefore I am abandoning my Bigfoot research?
No.
Well, he did, didn't he? Notwithstanding.
Well, he means to make an actual statement, Richard.
That is an actual statement.
Well, to us it is, but it's not to the general public. Obviously, he needs to
Even Finding Bigfoot thought Todd Standing was hoaxing. Even Matt Moneymaker. Come on.
Yeah, I know.
He was Standing as a colleague.
Yeah, and I don't know why I don't know why Meldrum did that, and I don't know why.
I'll tell you why.
Every time he goes on a documentary and they edit it to make him look like he's hanging out with people, or he always blames it on the editing, which pisses me off. But I don't have any control of the way they edit the show.
You want my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead. Absolutely, that's why you're on the show, Tim.
Standing has a certain look to him, and he has a beard, and he looks like a college professor, and he can talk like a college professor. And I think that at some point,
I was going to say jackass, but
yeah,
no, Meldrum felt that he was on his level. I look like a wrestler, so he's not going to give me that type of credibility. But a guy that looks like one of his peers, he would. And that's just my whole thought on the matter.
You could be right, and I don't think the term colleague. Obviously, we're all colleagues if we're all looking for the same thing, in a sense. And I think Meldrum, who is an academic, that's a term that he's used to using. And so I don't think it meant what everybody thought it meant. I don't think it meant that he thought Standing was on his academic level.
I think that Standing had a PhD. No.
Right. It didn't mean anything like that. It just meant that we're looking for the same thing, or allegedly.
Right. We'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. I think
Todd Standing has paid me to say.
Yeah. Well, I think he did get paid for his appearance in his latest documentary, and I have a lot of issues with that documentary, but we won't go there.
The ghillie shoot one.
Fucking standing, jumping around, and
I know,
fucking cut shots of him with fucking on his ATVs.
But here's the thing: he sold it, and he's making. I don't know how he does it. I mean, on the surface, we can look at Todd Standing as people who have been involved in the Bigfoot research community and say, what a fucking idiot. But the general public eats that shit up because he uses big words and makes it look good. And he puts people like Les Stroud and Jeff Meldrum on his show or on his movie. And so that's who he's targeting. He ain't targeting the Bigfoot community. He could care less about us because we're small. He wants the general public. And that's what Todd Standing's been really good at doing, is getting the general public to watch his shit.
Right, and he got on the Les Stroud show.
Yeah. Genius. If that's what you're after. If you're after getting the most eyes on your shit, you go after the people who, like Les Stroud, who's got a huge viewership, and people trust the guy, and Jeff Meldrum. Everybody in the Bigfoot community, at least at one time, trusted Jeff Meldrum and his opinion because he's a PhD and he's pretty much the only one we got, So there's been others, but Jeff is the one that everybody knows about. Every freaking Bigfoot documentary ever published in the last 10 years or 15 years probably has Jeff Meldrum in it, so people know who he is. So who would Standing go after? Obviously Meldrum. I mean, it just makes sense. And Bindernagel, because Bindernagel's been on a lot of Bigfoot shows now. May rest in peace. He was on a lot of Bigfoot documentaries and shows over the years. So you go after those guys if you want to get the most eyes on your stuff, whether it's real or not. And yeah.
While I'm thinking about it, and squeeze it in the end, it's already August. And so it's been 1 year now since Timber Giant Bigfoot put up a video. What is your basic thought on his disappearance?
I don't know.
Not paying out.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I can figure. YouTube did a lot of changes
with the PewDiePie thing, and when YouTube started cutting people's monetizations down, that's why he bounced. I mean, he was clearly only in it for the money.
Yeah, there was never anything that he put across that was convincing at all, ever to me.
Incredible. Yeah, I mean, the thing behind the bush, why didn't he fucking stay and wait for it to come out from behind the bush? The giant revealed he was obviously signaling it for it to move away when he banged on the tree. I mean, come on. He was clearly a hoaxer, and he was clearly in it for the money. And that's Richard's thought of the day.
And I have to agree with Richard's thoughts on that.
Right. He had a Bigfoot in front of him, but he chose to do a selfie shot of his pretty face while he had Bigfoot 100 feet away from him.
But he was charismatic. He was good at what he did as far as getting viewers to come and watch his stuff.
He was a con man.
He did have a really nice voice.
Wait. Pretty much everyone in that fucking community is a con man. They're all out to sell a book or fucking get paid for appearances. It's all a bag of bullshit.
Or a Patreon account or Google AdSense or something.
Yeah,
we try to make a little bit of money with the show. We don't succeed. We try. You know,
so everybody's that money has corrupted the entire thing now.
Well,
I think for fact it has.
Well, knowing things that we know behind the scenes from some of the people, yes, absolutely. And
it's not just indicative of the Bigfoot research community. It's the paranormal ghost hunting communities, the UFO alien communities. It's all about money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Loch Ness does tours looking for the monster.
It's easy to make up shit about something that's unknown, because there's no way to go against it. There's no way to disprove. I mean, you can do all the debunking videos you want, but there's always going to be that crowd of people who need to be fed, and who need, and so you're always going to have this shit, always.
And that's why guys like Rick Dyer, they know people were he knew people were hungry for that, and that's why he gave them what they wanted to see.
And the more bizarre the claims, the more you tend to get viewership. And Dyer knew that. And I've talked to Dyer personally off the record several times, so I know a lot of what he thinks, because he's told me, and he knows what he's doing. I mean, he knows exactly what he wants and what he's doing. Now, I don't think, obviously, he hasn't been around for a while either, but
no, he's making it rich in the car. He's got a used car lot here in Florida.
Right. I know.
He's making a ton on that.
Good for him. Get him.
What he's good at.
If there was a born used car salesman, it would be Rick Dyer.
But Steve, I want to ask you an important question.
Yes.
Animal Planet's program, Finding Bigfoot, is wrapping up with their 100th episode.
About frickin' time.
Now, considering how long they've been on air and 100 episodes, and in my opinion, essentially finding squadoosh.
Yeah.
Do you think that their efforts have hurt or helped the Bigfoot cause?
It could go both ways. I think they brought a lot of new people into the community, which both helped and hurt. There's a lot of people who weren't around, when they started. And
right.
Because you can go down the street. I talked to a lot of people who, wear a Bigfoot shirt or something out, and have you ever watched Finding Bigfoot? And then I'll tell them that, yeah, I've actually interviewed Cliff a few times, and I've talked to Renee and Bobo, and I don't think I ever talked to Matt. But so in a way, they brought a lot of new people in. But when you bring a lot of new people in, you get more of the same, and so it's done both, I think. But they haven't proven anything. And the show was never to prove anything, obviously, because once you prove it, the show's over.
There weren't a hell of a lot less Woo Warriors before Finding Bigfoot.
Yeah, but I don't think Finding Bigfoot brought the Woo Warriors in.
Well, I just think, it brought in a lot of housewives and stuff.
It brought in a lot of people who wouldn't have probably considered the subject in the first place. And now, because of that, you get all types, and every time there's a UFO documentary, you get a lot of people researching UFO stuff on TV. Well, this was a weekly show. It was on every week. So it kept them thinking about it. And then now that they go onto YouTube, and for example, and that's all they see is the Woo Warriors and the hoaxers and the people finding Bigfoot every time they go out, they want to be a part of that. And so they become that. And so it's just a vicious cycle. So probably overall, it probably hurt the cause more than it helped.
That's what I'm thinking.
But all it needed to do is bring in one good person who was going to go out there and use scientific methods, who had the abilities to do that, or get a team together that had and it didn't. So at least as far as we know. But then again, like you said, the real researchers, the people who would actually be able to do it the correct way, aren't going to be on YouTube and aren't going to be on the Facebook groups. They're going to be out there doing it. And whether Finding Bigfoot would have brought that sort of thing to the light, it's doubtful.
It's not entertainment.
No.
Actual
YouTube
research is not entertainment.
No, it would bore you to tears and you wouldn't watch it.
No,
exactly.
You wouldn't.
And I've stated this for a long time. If people want to have, actual research, scientific research, then go out and fucking do it. Put the money into that instead of fucking putting money into these douchebags that just go out there and have their little fucking rah-rah parties in the woods, where most of the time they're fucking kumbayaing, or they're drinking, or they're fucking smoking weed. I've been out on these fucking expeditions. It's a bag of horse shit.
It's not an expedition at all. Generally, it's a camping. As you're going out camping.
Yeah.
You might as well be looking for. It could be a deer hunting camp for. It's the same thing.
Well, most of the time, I find you're looking for a good buzz.
I have to agree with you. The most success I've had, I went camping by myself in a primitive area, and I got real focused on research. But when I've been with a group of about 10 or 12 people, it turned into a frat party.
You get too many people there, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a gathering of,
right,
and it's going to be turned into a party, because that's when people get together. That's what tends to happen,
right.
And whatever the intentions were when they started, it doesn't matter. It's what the result is at the end. Now, if Todd Standing was for real, his way would be the way to do it. Go out there and stay out there for weeks at a time. Now, he's not real, obviously, because you've seen the evidence that he's put out. It's bullshit. But if he was actually researching and doing what he said he was doing, that would be the way to go, is to stay out there for a couple of weeks, maybe a small group of dedicated researchers who had some sort of scientific measuring equipment and things like that, and were trained in that type of area to find a new species. Then that's the way to go, is to stay out there. You can't go out in the woods for a day and expect to find anything. You're not going to. You might come across a track, if you're lucky. Yeah, but that's about all you're ever going to find.
These expeditions need to be long-term.
Oh, yeah. Weeks or months.
I loved, when it came out, I loved Monster Quest. I thought it was a cool show. Yeah. They highlighted a bunch of different shit, but I've constantly criticized that show since it came out, even though I loved it, saying you can't just take a week or a couple of days in the fucking woods or in the quote unquote area and find anything. It needs to be way more in depth.
And unfortunately, 90% of us, even more than that, probably 99% of us can't spend more than a day or two. It's just not feasible, because we have to earn a living, and we have to, we have lives. We have to do it that way.
Yeah, because most of your Bigfoot researchers are weekend warriors.
Yeah, as long as we got amateurs out there in the field, that's the result we're going to get.
Right. You'd have to be financed to go out there for a month.
And very few of us can get financed.
And the people who get financed are fucking pulling bullshit.
Generally, yes. And there's only one financier for the Bigfoot world, and he seems to get the wool pulling over his eyes too many times. So,
did Richard want to ask me something about Alex Jones that came up earlier?
No, we threw the Alex Jones thing out the window.
We were going to talk about how Alex Jones was kicked off all the social media platforms all at one time, and whether there was some sort of conspiracy going on there. So
that's because of his connections with Donald Trump.
Well, I don't know. He made some statements. I know. I don't really follow that stuff, so I don't know. I have a lot of opinion on it, but I know he's made some pretty. He's always been controversial, and of course, obviously, get some viewers and stuff.
That's what sells.
Yeah, it sells. Controversy sells. And in fact, when I talked to Rick Dyer personally off the record, and I don't think he'd mind if I said this, that's what I said, man. Controversy sells. And I know that you know that. He agreed with me. Controversy sells. And that's where you get your viewers. But whatever he said this time, Alex Jones, was, I think, a little over the top for most people. And whether or not Facebook or YouTube or whatever other platforms he got tossed from are run by liberals or conservatives, I don't know that matters. Sometimes you got to cut your losses with some of these people, and maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I don't know that there was a controversy behind it as far as the platforms getting together, because that's what a lot of people think, that the platforms all got together.
Talk about it as a conspiracy. I wanted to talk about it of whether or not you considered it an attack on free speech or not.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, free speech does have limits, though. I mean, there's certain things. I don't know. What was the statement that he made that got him? I can't recall.
No,
that's how much I follow this stuff.
They said that he was he was spewing hate and he was creating an unsafe environment. But they would never give any quotes or direct you to a video that would support their argument. And the fact that all these platforms within several hours dumped him meant that this was a collusion. You're looking for Russian collusion, there it is.
Do you think that this is?
A lot of people don't know.
Do you think
What,
it's been?
Russians?
No, I don't think the Russians.
Here's something a lot of people don't know. Have you ever seen that famous video of Trump and his wife coming down the escalator as he just before he gives his speech announcing that he's going to run for president?
Yes.
Okay. He was a little late coming down because he was on a podcast up in his office. And the podcast he was on was with Alex Jones. And Alex Jones said he would do everything he could do within his power to help get Trump elected. Now, the night that Trump was elected, at the moment when Trump realized that he had won, he picked up his cell phone and he called Alex Jones and he thanked him for all of his help. Because Richard may not know this, but Alex Jones was instrumental in helping get Trump votes and putting out the message about how the media had skewed the polls and had lied to us.
That's not really an issue.
Free speech issue. It would be like the phone company cuts off your connection, Richard, because they don't like what you're talking about on your phone, or the electric company cuts off your electricity because they say you're using the electricity to fuel computers that are watching objectionable material.
But they have every right to do that because they are privately owned businesses.
You're right.
It would be an attack on free speech if it was the government. If Alex Jones was in jail or had been fined, that would be an attack on free speech. This is private businesses deciding to terminate their association with him. When
corporations create a monopoly by using anti-competitive practices, which are a violation of the Sherman Act and the Clayton Anti-Competition Act that were established by the Supreme Court over a century ago, they now have become the de facto government. They are the ones that are running where free speech goes. When everybody and their brother is on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and they're not on any other platforms, they are the ones that are the arbiters of free speech, and they have to protect the Constitution. If they don't, they will legally one day be forced to in court. But your argument, no, you said they go somewhere else. There is nowhere else to go.
He could go on Twitch.
Well, Alex Jones. Alex could create his own platform, I suppose, or anybody.
Well, there are unintended consequences. Yeah. You know what the most downloaded app was last week on Apple?
What is it?
Infowars.com, 6 million downloads.
I have no doubt that Alex Jones and because I've seen some of the Infowars stuff, I have no doubt that they were instrumental in helping sway the election. I have no doubt. But whether or not, I mean, free speech is a misnomer pretty much in this country. We don't really have free speech, even though we think we do, because of things like YouTube and Facebook being privately owned corporations that can do whatever the fuck they really want. Luckily, for some reason, this show hasn't been shut down. I don't know how.
Well, and that's the thing that I think is important, is that it's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
The minute they start banning one guy because he's controversial and he says crazy shit. Now, whether or not I agree with Alex Jones doesn't matter.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if they can take him off, they can take us off, and they can take anyone else off for any reason whatsoever.
And then just claim it's because they're a privately owned corporation like Richard's.
And the fact of the matter is, there is no definitive line. Show me a fucking definitive line that says you can't cross this, and I'm okay with that. But when it comes to YouTube and Facebook and whatever else, fucking LinkedIn, whatever it is, there is no definitive line. And if you try to go plead your case to them, they're like, oh, well, too bad. There's no line. Give me a goddamn line. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's not there. And you try to ask them about it, and you get the goddamn runaround.
There's obviously moral lines that you shouldn't cross. And if Facebook, like if you were calling for somebody's death, obviously, that would be a reason to get banned, obviously. And I don't think anybody would argue with that. If you're calling to go rape women or things like that, that's a line that you don't cross. And if you do, you deserve whatever you get. But as far as I don't know, what the whole controversy is behind Alex Jones. I know he's a controversial figure, but I don't think he's done any of that particular stuff. Maybe he has. I don't know. But if he hasn't, then, I agree with Chris that who said it? I think it was it Reagan who was talking about the slippery slope back in the day? Or I know it was a Republican president talking about slippery slope. I think it had to do with taxes, but it's still, that's it. Once you do this, then you open the gate to do that and that and that. And then there is no free speech anymore. And
right.
You're screwed.
For every Tommy Robinson they throw in jail, there's 1,000 more they're going to.
What? So it's okay to throw in people that it is completely justified to put in jail. So we'll put 1,000 more people that it's completely justified to put in jail.
It depends. I don't know that story either. I don't know that story either, so I can't comment.
No, the overriding message to Tommy was that eventually the men in England are going to have to uprise and take Britain back. There once was a time when the sun never set on the British Empire.
There was a fucking time the sun never set on the Roman Empire and the fucking Macedonian Empire. All empires fall.
Well, how old a man are you? How old a man are you, Richard?
33.
Yeah. Are you comfortable with the thought that in your older years that you'll be living under Sharia law?
I don't know that I will be.
No, because it's not the English are not only surrendering their country, but they've been over and applied the Vaseline themselves. And I have no clue as to why they're doing that. Why would they be protecting these animals?
Have you ever met any Muslims? They're all right.
I drive a taxi for a living. Half our fleet is Muslim.
Well, so you are then.
I think Tim is probably referring to radical Muslims, not regular everyday Muslims. Regular everyday Muslims are awesome.
Need to be exterminated.
Right,
I mean, for every Muslim terrorist, there's Christians killing abortion doctors.
Radical?
What's that?
That's all Tommy Robinson was trying to do, was show who the rapists were?
Yeah, and because of his interference, they had to call that a mistrial, and all of them people went free. So who did that help ultimately?
Interference, because he's shooting a camera.
They told him not to repeatedly, and he did it. So, yes, that is against the law. That's the way the law works.
It's amazing how a nation that provided us with the Magna Carta is now behind the United States. The people that overthrew them are ahead of them.
Hey, I love America. The food's great.
Richard has a different opinion than a lot of his countrymen, I'm sure.
Well, let's ask Gary Shaw. Gary's in the chat room. Gary, what do you think about Tommy Robinson?
Oh, Jesus.
And read it out when you finish typing. But
I don't even know who the guy is, so I don't have an opinion myself. But I understand both of your sides. I mean, I don't think that the UK or anywhere is going to be under Sharia law. I don't think it's going to go that far. I think the public eventually will put a stop to it. It's just not Sharia law is horrible. But
a true countryman, Nigel Farage, believes that this is.
Oh, don't even.
I don't know. I don't get into the politics.
Nigel Farage is a great Brit and an honorary American.
He is a fucking frog-faced wank pheasant who should have been killed at birth.
Was it a wank pheasant?
A wank pheasant. That is what he is. All right.
What exactly is a wank pheasant?
A masturbating bird.
Well, yeah.
I can't think of any insult that you would understand that would describe him well enough. So I'm going with wank pheasant.
Okay.
I'm standing by it. Yeah, you can have Farage if he's an honorary American. Please, we'll pay for his plane ticket.
What do you think of Brexit?
Oh God. We've had this discussion with Richard.
I wish that honestly, like I'm a Remainer. But, we had a vote, and more people voted in that referendum than have done in several general elections, and it was to leave. So if the government didn't want to actually leave, I wish they'd rigged the vote instead of dragging this on as long as it's dragged on. Because all we're hearing over here at the moment is Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. And, just fucking put up or shut up. That's where I'm at with Brexit.
Well, it gives me hope that Britain has not completely lost its mind.
Okay, that is the third time you've said that, and I would like to point out who your president is if we're going to go around insulting countries. All right.
Probably, man, it's turning out to be the greatest president in the history of this country.
Well, I do have to agree.
God.
Trump says some crazy shit. Don't get me wrong; he says some crazy shit. But there's a lot of the steel mills are starting to open back up now. Whether he's done it or not, obviously he's going to get the credit for it. But a lot of things have changed. I mean,
unemployment is at a historical low.
CNN actually did a story. His approval rating's only like 40%, and CNN is obviously not for Trump at all. But they did a story the other day, and they showed that the unemployment rate was lower. The gross, the GDP was better. All that stuff was better. Now, is it because Trump is the president? I don't know. Is it because people feel more empowered and are wanting to do things more now? I think that might be more what's going on, but it isn't. There are things financially improving in this country since Trump took over. And it's usually that way when there's a Republican president. Regardless of your political views, the unemployment tends to go down and things like that. Not always, but tends to.
I mean, when Obama was elected, half of America thought that you were going to be living under Sharia law when that happened.
I agree. You're right. And we're not. And I think a lot of the times we just jump into those sorts of things. We want to think the worst, as a human, as human beings, we want to think the worst, and hopefully we hope for the best. And that's what I do.
The problem is that this country is divided, and it was divided long before President Trump took office.
It was divided before Obama took office. It was divided.
And I've said for a long time that the problem with this government is the fact that it's a two-party system. If you want to fix the fucking problem, get rid of Democrats and Republicans. People need to run on platforms, what they believe, not fucking run down a party line. Yeah. It's horse shit. Go out there, say what you believe in, say what you want to do for the country, and that should be it. You don't have to be a Democrat. You don't have to be a Republican. You don't have to be a fucking independent. You're just a human being with ideals. And that is it. If we want to fix the problem, that's the fix.
Unfortunately, that's never going to happen.
No, because they like having us divided.
Well, it makes sense. It makes sense. The government can control the people if we're divided.
The 1% don't want the 99% to know they've got all the power.
Right. And it's not that way just in this country.
No, it's worldwide. It's how humans work.
Some governments are way more open about it. Obviously, like dictatorships, they're way more open about it. But it's all the same. It's all the same. Anyway, that ends the political.
Yeah, that ends the political segment on the Fortean Slip. And we've been talking for 2 hours now, Tim.
We probably ought to.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. All right, Tim, I'd like to thank you for coming on. As always, we enjoy having you on the show. This has been the Fortean Slip, episode 38, War for the Planet of the Apes, Skunk Apes, excuse me, or should it be Info War for the Planet of the Skunk Apes?
I like that better. Yeah, Richard was good.
Should I change that one?
I think so.
Yeah.
Nah.
If you put Info War in the title, you get a lot of hits.
Sure. Or it might get taken down.
Steve,
Yeah.
Worth
have
the
your
risk.
permission to repost this on my YouTube channel?
That's up to Chris. This is Chris's show.
Oh, Chris.
I know I seem like the most intelligent one on the show and that it should be my show, but it's Chris's show.
Chris.
Yeah, feel free, Tim.
All right, thank you.
If you like this shit, hit the little thumbs up button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down
Can
button.
I repost it on my YouTube channel?
Sure, Steve.
Okay.
Leave a comment, subscribe. Everybody just repost it. Who gives a fuck? Check out Matt Knapp at youtube.com/bigfootcrossroads. Check out Para Breakdown at youtube.com/Para Breakdown. As always, check out Richard's comic strip, Bigfootin' with Keith and Colin on Facebook, and show Dred Funn some love at dredfunn.com and youtube.com/Dred Funn. And maybe if Richard's fucking lucky, next week we'll do the Urban Legend Video Game Myths show.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. See ya!
He'll probably figure out a way.
Fuck off.